All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So let's click resume and then get back into it. Now, last time we were working on just figuring out what choke points we have in our white science production. And so I guess we're just going to keep on doing that until eventually we don't have any anymore. So this is blue circuits. It is going better now. I mean, the amount getting delivered here is 39, which is not as many as we need to be delivered, but it is still a good solid amount. Which means that, yeah, these are running. So that is pretty cool. So the question is, basically, do we need to make this go faster? And I think the answer is probably. So that we need to figure out if we're going to run out of red circuits before more get delivered. And then I guess if we do run out of red circuits before more get delivered, is that going to be a continual thing? Because at this point, the production bottleneck is either red circuit production or blue circuit production. And we need to figure out which. We also need to not have gaps in our train lines for no reason. So let's just fill that in. And that will, I'm sure, be mildly helpful to some trains at some point, probably. So is there a train on the way here? There is not. The amount of red circuits being supplied is low, but it's also not going terribly fast. So there's that to consider as well. So if we want this to go faster, we just have to put beacon speed modules into here. And then that will make it so that the bottleneck is definitely red circuit supply. So I guess let's do that, which is going to require some work. Let's see, how do these output? They output up there. Alright, so we need to get just every other one of these out. So we take out you, and we take out you, and then we have to put in the beacons with speed modules. Alright, so what we actually need is we need another power line there so that it'll overwrite the inserter, which would otherwise just empty all the speed modules out onto this belt, which is something that I have repeatedly have happen. Alright, so that is in, and I think we can copy paste this with just the blueprint versions, but I will wait for the speed modules to show up just in case. And obviously all of this isn't needed anymore, but it doesn't hurt, so we don't have to remove it. Alright, so this is all set up, so we can grab a copy paste of it and then start placing. So we just need these to go in every other, like this, and just a few more. Actually quite a lot in this row, huh? Alright, and that's the last one. So now all of that will get done, And this row of machines will then be much faster as a result, once it all gets built. And then what we need to do is, I think these two rows are exactly the same but inverted. So I think we can just copy paste this and flip it, and then it'll work. So we just grab that. We have it line up there. We flip it horizontally. And I guess we'll see if this works. I think the only things that are changing are the two things that I want to change. So we can put that in and then see if it works. All right. Okay, it looks like some of these got downgraded, but I don't think that's important. You might need to go back and re-upgrade these inserters, but we'll see, I guess. We'll have to wait for the beacons to actually get placed in order to do that. Alright, so now we're using a whole lot of green circuits. This is going basically almost... Okay, not as fast as it can go. There's still a good solid backlog there. We'll see what happens once this stuff gets placed in, because it's gonna cause a pretty significant increase. Alright, any second now. Where are my speed module drones? Looks like these guys are coming in. Yeah, there we go. So that's some speed modules delivered. And then there are more stopping to recharge before showing up again. Alright, so that is, I believe, all in. And now we can see that this last one has an item ingredient shortage. So we need to fix that. So obviously we need the stuff to get in. Actually, are all of these? Yeah, so that is, we do need to upgrade the input belts here. And let's just go with that. Should be good enough. So just gotta let the drones show up and do their work. There we go. Hopefully that'll help. And probably we're just going to have to supply more green circuits, because it looks like just one belt is not going to be enough. But that's fine. I mean, if we're using a full belt of green circuits, that's pretty good. And if we can then increase that to more than a full belt, then that's going to be even better. Assuming that we have the green circuit supply, which, who knows. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not even getting halfway, is it? Like, these guys aren't getting anything, really. So, in order to fix that, I just need to drag a second belt out here. And let's see here. How is this going to work? It should be possible, because we don't need these inserters. So it should be possible to just do that. And then I doubt we need that electrical pole. So actually, no. I think... So this isn't ideal, because it's going to insert just on the side. but it's, I guess, better than nothing. It's some ability to supply a second belt full. Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal at all. Can we fix this? Yeah, we can actually cut that belt out there. And now it works. Yeah, so there, that belt, I guess, will backlog a little bit, but that's fine because it wasn't really getting much further anyways. Yeah, the problem is that this underground belt just sort of has to go along like that, so we can't turn it. Yeah, and then this is fine. It's, yeah, this is not really backlogging much at all, so if we are losing anything from that, it's very minimal. And green circuit supply is now going most of the way through. Alright. So now we have these boxes which are now full of blue circuits. Which means that if we go up here, this should be getting all the blue circuits that it needs. Which means this should, for the time being at least, be running fully. Except we run out of rocket fuel now. Alright, so that is progress, because we've changed the thing that we're short of. So now we need to take a look at the rocket fuel supply. And what is going on up there? No, it's just... Is it anywhere in particular? It's this stupid little corner thing again. Alright, that's fine. I do not care enough to do anything about that. We're just going to leave it. So, if rocket fuel is now the limiting factor, which it very definitely is. Is that actually just rocket fuel delivery? Because I only have it set to deliver 40 at a time. We have... Okay, yeah, we have more than enough actual rocket fuel, so the problem is this box is set to deliver 40 at a time, and we need to just have that set to, like, 200 or something ridiculous. And we should probably just have all of these set to much higher numbers so that the throughput isn't the problem. There. That is that. Okay, and then this is also short on solar panels, which isn't currently a problem, but could be one in the future. So where is my solar panel production? I don't think I have any solar panel production up here. Though I do have those. So yeah, where is my solar panel production actually? Is it entirely this thing down here? Where is it? Solar panels, I think they're somewhere in this vicinity. I'm not seeing them though. Okay, I might just be blind. Oh wait, no, they're gonna be over here on the main bus, aren't they? Somewhere in here, yes. It is these three, which have no modules, but are otherwise working fine. And they're also not even assembly machine 3s. So let's make those assembly machine 3s and give them speed modules. So that should fix that problem. Got plenty of steel, it looks like. Got plenty of copper. We've got plenty of green circuits here. So that upgrade should do the trick. Now going back over to here, this is still going fine. And the amount of red circuits here actually looks like it has gone up slightly since I was last checking, which means we might be good there. Green circuits are still doing their green circuit thing. And this We should have plenty of those. So now we have everything here running. I don't know if that's stable or not. So that's going to be the main question, is will something run out at some point? Because currently this is good, but I don't know if our production rates on everything is actually fast enough to stay that way. So we're going to have to leave this a little bit to find out. But it is definitely looking solid. So that is going to be just a couple more cycles, and the bonus productivity should finish it off. That's another rocket. Very cool. Yeah, I think we might be there. So now we just have to just mind our business, play the game a little bit, and see if we continue like that. And this should also result in lots of science. Yes, that is going, and we are still doing plenty. Okay, so over here, the satellite production is having all sorts of issues, it looks like. So we are building up the solar panels. So that is fine. So solar panel production is still going. I don't know how fast. I need to actually, I should probably just do actual math. So these three together make about 1 solar panel per second. So if we then scroll up here, this theoretically could run at 25 solar panels per second, but we're not going to do that. So this then would be 1 satellite. So it's 1/25th, so it would be 1 satellite every 100 seconds off of the solar panels. Then this one is 1 rocket part every, it's like 5-ish rocket parts. There's 5-ish seconds per rocket part. And then there's 100 of those, so it's like 500 seconds per rocket, I think. Is that right? Somewhere around there. It's slightly worse than that because it's slightly less than 0.2. And then for our blue circuits, that's 1.33, and we have producing down here theoretically a ton more than that. Alright, so assuming blue circuit production is going fast enough, it's definitely not going to be the bottleneck, because that's just like 3 of these. So that's like 3 of those. And then red circuits are still looking solid. We're getting regular deliveries, and the numbers seem to be going up. Green circuits haven't looked like there've been a problem at all, so we're just going to assume that that's the case. Alright, so then we go over here to these guys. This might be a problem. These guys are very, very slow, but I do have a lot of them. Alright, so these are 0.04 per second each, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I lost count when I scrolled. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then we got 4 rows of that, so that's 60 of these. 60 times 0.04 is let's see here. Wait, 2.4, I think, right? Because 60 times 4. That's a good idea. I will do that in the future. So 60 times 4 is 240. Then divide that by 100 is 2.4. So this is enough of these for the rockets alone. And I don't think we're using them for much else. So I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem. Then is the rocket fuel a problem? I don't think so. I think the rocket fuel is specifically designed to be enough production for that. 0.3. Alright. Yeah, right, so I can do this. So that is 10 assemblers. And they're all at slightly different speeds, which is annoying. But if we just go based on this one, which is sort of average, then that would be 10 of those would be 3 per second. And then most of these in the middle are faster, so we should have enough rocket fuel as well. Assuming that these are all running, which they're having output full problems, which is perfectly fine. Alright. I think that is that then. That's if I've done all of my math correctly and there's no additional problems with the satellites, which there very well could be. I need to just like do the math on how much keeping the satellite supply running is worth. But assuming that there's no problem there and these don't take like twice as much as these. Actually, let's just see here. These are 100 of each of those things for basically 100 of everything for one satellite, and like that's 50 of the rocket fuel and a small amount of radars, which don't seem to be an issue. So if we have 100 of those, and this is going to take, we need 100 of those per every like 500 seconds, right? Because this takes like 500 seconds to go and make a full thing. So that means that this is like one every 5 seconds, right? So it's like 0.2 per second is what we actually need to keep this going. As long as we don't care about building up a backlog of satellites, which I certainly don't. Alright, I think... it's a bit weird. I think we might have inconveniently gotten to what I consider a stopping point in the first half hour of the stream, so I guess we're just gonna mess around and do other stuff. So we're gonna mess around, try to learn more about the data cable stuff, because that is going to be very useful for future knowledge. And then while we're doing that, we can just confirm that this is going. And actually, the first data cable thing that we can do, which hopefully won't be too hard. Oh, we can't connect that to the wire. Disappointing. Well, we can set an alarm to see if this is ever not going. So we get satellite belts. I guess we should actually set out a data cable thing. What sort of combinator? I guess a decider combinator, probably. So we get satellites on the belt, and we also have it connected to all of these guys. So that Input signals, all of those. We need to set you to read belt contents. And hold. Okay, that's the sound of a rocket launching, right? Alright. I guess we do that. So now we have basically a list of how much stuff we have in all of these stockpiles. And then, if any of these hit 0, then we can say that it stopped working. So we need blue circuits, or we're going to need just 4 of these. Blue circuits, or low density structures, or rocket fuel, or where are satellites in production? There we go. Or satellites. So if any of those are equal to 0, well, let's actually just say like less than 10. Let's just say less than 10, because then we'll know that it's being close to a problem. Alright. So we set all that up. Then it will output a alert of 1. Alright, so now if any of these get low, then we will be alerted. And we just then need to take the alert into a programmable speaker, I guess, which I've never crafted, so we'll have to craft one of those. Alright, so you are circuit connections. If the alert equals 1, then click show alert, which can be the alert and rocket production stopped. Alright, that should be good. So now I just need to actually make the programmable speaker. So let's craft up one of those. And then we can just put this in a box. So passive provider chest. Take a programmable speaker, and now some drone can bring that down. And we will have an alert if our production of that ever stops. Alright, so that is off. And then we have this whole science thing which is going still. And it looks like we are actually short on some type of science which isn't white science. Is that correct? I mean, this doesn't look like it's missing science packs, but it has white science packs. So that is the next thing that we need to solve, is we need to figure out what's going on with that. Alright, it looks like we're missing blue science. Alright. Alright, so let's set up just like the same thing here, just as an alert when the science production isn't fully running. So we get I close the map. I really need to just like somehow make it harder for myself to accidentally close the map, because I keep wanting to just instinctively hit that button. Alright, so decider combinator. We cannot connect the science labs to wire. That's annoying. We'll have to go on the belts. So now all of those are connected up. And then we just have to set up... How many types of science are there? I think there are like a lot. I guess we could just go into here, and where are you? Red or green or military or blue or purple or yellow, and then white science is the thing that we want to be the limiting factor because we want everything else to be good. So if any of those are less than 10, and we're going to have to set the systems on the belts and stuff to get this working. Then you are going to output an alert, and that alert, apparently that needs power. I always forget that the logic things need power. And we're going to need another one of you, which we're then going to need to manually craft again. And you are going to get alert is equal to 1, show alert, and that can actually just be science shortage. And that will help that out. So we need to set you guys to do this. And those are all set up. So now this is getting like 30s-ish for everything. Except for the blue science, which is correctly identified to be missing. Let's make a couple programmable speakers and throw them in to a random box. Alright, so now we should get a constant alert that we are short on science until we fix the blue science problem. I just want to see that actually happening so that we can confirm that it works and just know what it looks like. Where is our... It's so hard to find. It's like basically invisible in here. So yeah, some drone is coming along to put that speaker in. Alright, any second now. It's a bit of a journey. Okay, here we go. Okay, can I make you not play sounds? Stop. Alright. There. Alright, so now I have the alert, and it is just not going to be making an annoying sound. Alright, so now we have to figure out what is wrong with our blue science production. That is this line in here. And it's working, but slow. Okay, is that all? So is that just the problem? Is that these... I mean, it looks like we have everything, and we just... Oh no, wait, why do you have a item ingredient shortage? Because a power line is placed there for some reason? Alright, well, we can fix you. And just fix, like, every couple one of these guys. So that was a weird problem to have. But it's not going to be the main problem, because I think this is just simply too slow, even if we add those couple extras in. So, we need this to get set up with beacons. Beacons. Wait, first, it's very important, we remove the output belt before we put the beacon in, otherwise it will yoink any modules we put in there. So there we go. We have a beacon. Give you some speed modules. And then we just have to put in a power pole there where the output belt is to overwrite them. And then we can just copy and paste this whole thing up a bunch. Alright, why do you all not quite line up? I have no idea if this is going to work or if this is just going to break things even more, but let's place it in and see. So let's just place all of these in, and this should also just like make this more standardized. So there we go. And they're all getting placed. The drones are not the fastest in the world, but they're way more convenient than me running all the way over wherever this is. Actually, where is that? It might be close. No, it's pretty far. Okay, yeah. Definitely not worth running up there. Alright, so now this science should be cooking along at a much better speed. So I seem to have misplaced them so that there's this sort of too wide gap. There should be another one there, but it's fine. There's another too wide gap up there. Also not really a problem. The important thing is that this is going much faster now. So this one up here is completely unboosted and it's 0.05 per second. This one is only getting one booster and it's 5 times as fast. And this one is like 7 times as fast. So our blue science production should be a lot better now. Unclear whether it'll end up being enough, but hopefully it'll be a significant improvement, and then we can just add an additional row if need be, or clean up some of the sloppiness with the placement of the beacons. So we've got that. Then we can drop back down to here, where we are still missing blue science. But it is getting placed in pretty fast now. We have 192 scheduled to deliver, up to the max of 200, which means, I think, theoretically that should mean that we have all that we need, because if they can schedule that much to deliver, then it would mean that it's just going as fast as it can, and we're like the drone throughput is now the problem here, and not the science. So let's just see. It might take a little bit for all those additional drones to make the trip down. And it might also take a little bit for all of the extra blue science to actually just make it through and fill up this whole system. But we'll just have to see if it works. I hope we don't have to add even more blue science production. But all the rest of these were doing fine. Possibly that was only because the blue science was being limited. So we might have to increase production of other types of science in order to get this completely working. Alright, blue is going along the belts. And it is tough to say how much these even use. because the research speeds are a bit weird. But the amount of research per minute has spiked dramatically, which is a sign that our blue science production has also itself been massively improved. Alright, I think we might want to set you up to 400 requested. And that will then just request basically all the science that we can possibly find. So where is the blue science? It's all the way up here. And yeah, these guys are still just outputting as fast as they get produced. So we still might need an additional row of this. Let's see, how much is this? So this is like 0.36, so that's going to be like 0.7 something. That's going to be like 1, 1.2, 1.5, 1.9, 2.1, so I don't know, we're looking at like 2.5-ish, somewhere around that ballpark. Which is a lot. Then these research labs, if we go all the way down here, doesn't say, oh, these have modules. I didn't know you could module research labs. That's neat. I probably don't want to speed module them. I might want to productivity module them, although that would slow down research, which might arguably just defeat the point of having it. I mean, we could do productivity modules and then add more research labs. That would be fun. Alright, let's think. No, I think just the generic research labs are probably fine. I think it should be okay as it is. So this is still going up, so now we're delivering like 260 or so. Which is a lot more than like the 210 or so that we had previously, so we're still increasing the amount of blue science that we are getting through here. And then it's just a matter of how much of this we can get active at any one time off of that blue science. And also, if one of these other things is going to run out first. Because that is a very real possibility. Some of the other sciences are pretty slow producing themselves. Alright, let's increase blue science production with one more row of this. And let's actually just... let's just improve this a bit. What's that? Just some drones. So let's make this so that it's properly tiled and not wasting any space. So that is going to go up to there. And then just overwrite most of those guys to get that to work correctly. So that'll give us a little bit more production. And then once we have this row good, we can add another one in. Alright, so that is going strong. We still haven't gotten the alert that the rockets have stopped running, which means that they are still going. Or actually what it means is that I didn't get a power pole out here. Let's do that. And then set you down to minimum volume just in case. Alright, so now the speaker there is actually powered, so it'll actually work. But we still aren't getting that signal, so that's good. Then we go up here, and this is going along. All of these guys are extra fast now. Alright, so we need to prepare a little bit to make the new row. So these belts of sulfur are going to be in the way. So let's get rid of them and instead route this down over this way just a little bit further so that it isn't directly where we're going to be building. And then hopefully this works and we can just copy paste this. Copy paste that entire thing. Flip it horizontally so that the sulfur and red circuits are the same belts, so we don't have to do extra work there. And place that in. And then we're going to have to get our engines over to here. And the sulfur is going to have to go underground a little bit to get out of the way. Alright, then this is into that row. And that should be all set up, I think. We just have to wait for things to get built. And we're low on speed modules. Annoying. You were producing those down here, right? Where was that? Where was this whole thing? Alright, what was going on here? These ones are output full. These ones are short. What are they short on? They're short on blue circuits. That makes sense. Still have the inserters at the beacon spots. I should have overwritten them, I think, right? Yeah, so I specifically put a power pole there so that they wouldn't do that. So yeah, I mean these inserters here exist, but that's fine. I mean, they don't do anything. Like, they're just sitting there being wasted inserters, which isn't a huge deal. But as far as, like, the actual concern is the output inserters, which just dump the modules onto the belts, which I definitely don't want. That has not happened. Cool. So now we just have to take this belt, drag you over and into there. And that will be even more of those as soon as we figure out blue circuits in this area. So you are... I see you aren't set up to the prioritization system thing. So you are... Assuming that anything on this line is getting prioritized, this one will basically never. So we need to pop that. That is the blue circuits input, right? Yes. And I closed the map again. I need to stop closing the stupid map. So we need to go to blueprints. We need to grab train unloader V2. We need to place it in and set this back to blue circuit input. So that should help these get the blue circuits that they need once all that stuff gets built. And just make sure this isn't going to somehow overlap with any other circuit stuff, because there's a lot in this area and it doesn't look like it. Alright, so you are now priority 100. And the only train is going to here to fill up. Alright, so that is expected. What is not expected is our blue circuit, our green circuit supply is now an issue. So this is now almost empty. Except for these last couple boxes, which have thousands for some reason. Alright, there's a way of preventing that. I can't remember. I always forget to do this. You have to like balance it so that the various input sides are all equally weighted. I don't care, it should be fine. So this is showing up, delivering a whole bunch, and hopefully that will just deal with it. Alright, then we go back over to this, and it still hasn't gotten anything. The train is still loading, but it should go to the module production next because it's completely empty. And also I don't know what else even uses blue circuits. Yeah, what blue circuit inputs even are there? There's obviously this one, and there is, well, there's a lot of stuff going through the drone system. But as far as actual trains, I think I don't know how many there actually are. Let's see here if we can take a look at this. This is blue circuit input 2, so there are 2 of them. I don't know where the other one is, but we did get a delivery just now, and it's not that many. It's actually kind of a depressingly small amount. That just does seem to be lasting, though. It's got a long ways to wrap around. So the amount that's on the belts hopefully will be decent. So once it gets all the way back to that point, that's where it really starts to run and make our speed modules. So that is going, and we're making speed modules once more. Okay, if we go over to the science situation, we're still short on blue science. Nothing has changed there in the meantime. Now let's go back up to the blue science and see. Okay, so this is now running out because we don't have any. What are those? Just engine part type things? Where are those? Engine parts are these. And these are short on, well, they say they're short on steel. This one does, because the inserters are all messed up again. I don't know why it's like this. There must have been like a whole period where I was like copy pasting something that had this problem. Alright, so that will improve that a little bit. But as far as actually getting there to be enough, we're gonna need to speed module this as well, and it's off of gears and steel plates and iron plates and steel plates, so it's probably not gonna run out of anything. So can I actually just, if I just paste this and then reset the recipes, that should be fine, probably. Yeah, let's try it. It's easier to do that than set up the whole pasting thing from scratch. So we go to intermediate products, engine units, and oh, I have to actually set the recipe. Where are you? engine units. And then we just paste all of these across. And I don't know why there's a gap there. I do not know why there's a gap there, but it should be a beacon. Alright, so you go away. And then we can put a beacon in here. And give it speed modules. Alright, there we go. So now we just have to wait for the actual speed modules to show up, which is going to involve getting them crafted first. But then that should improve the production of engine units to the point where we can actually do stuff. So that is that. Speed modules, we're still 7 short. We're still 7 speed modules short. This has technically some blue circuits in reserve, but mostly it's just the ones sitting on the belt. There are a good number of them sitting on the belt, though, so that should hopefully get us there. We only need another 6. And these need like 10 each. So yeah, hopefully that's fine. Hopefully that's fine. And we can get our blue science production up and running, because now like it's going to be basically 0 without these running because of the engine unit shortage. But the engine units are probably now producing faster than they were before, even though all of these aren't in. Most of them are. So then they just have to get over to here and possibly some other place. Yeah, there are apparently 2 places that need them. I guess the other one would be these, maybe? Yes. So these ones need engine units as well, and they've got a couple of them. But they are also copied off of that same incorrect blueprint. So that's annoying. But they aren't actually causing any problems, right? I don't think. I haven't seen anything miserable because it's short on electrical engines, so I think we're just fine. And then it's just a question of this going. And we need to deal with these biters. Biters are very, very annoying. Alright. Alright, we are just like apparently 1 or 2 speed modules shy of being done. So that is good. And then hopefully we can build enough of a backlog that the next thing we do won't have to wait quite as long. Science is still short on blue science. Actually, I wonder if I can make this just specify what it is. So if we get, like, can I set you to do logic stuff on what the alert symbol is? It would be really cool if I could have it, like, show the symbol of whatever we're empty on. But this one has those logic things, and this one doesn't. So yeah, I think that's just going to have to be like it is. The blue science delivery has crashed because of the engine shortage. Hopefully it'll recover soon. These are now producing like crazy. And if we go over here, still nothing coming over here. So this one is connected up to the system, as is this one. So is sort of a toss-up as to which one will receive the engine units, but theoretically it should be this one, because this one has a non-zero amount in it. And then hopefully those engine units will last a long time. These do use quite a lot of those per second, actually. So each one of these is 0.44, each one of these is 0.26. So the ratios we have here are actually almost correct. We need to have like slightly more than one of these for every two of these, and we're at about the same numbers of each. So hopefully that checks out, and actually that means we're going to need more, right? It means we're actually going to need a considerable amount more, because we have, first of all, we have to round up to accommodate for the slightly extra bit of that, and then we also have to deal with these, who are going to be taking another like one-ish machine. So I think we only need like 2 more machines, actually, if I'm doing that math correctly. So let's see if I can squeeze those in anywhere convenient. We can get this guy up to full speed with a beacon. Or we could replace him and get another beacon up above. That's probably better. Alright, so you don't output. Become a beacon. Get a machine. Then these belts go up a little bit more. And this last one is going to have to be a little bit custom in order to fit onto that belt. So we just have to do it like that. And then like that. And then like that. So then that beacon gets speed modules. This guy gets productivity modules. And that should be a little bit extra engines. Actually, I might just... I wonder how much of a difference having speed modules in the machine as opposed to productivity modules will make. It'll probably be a lot, right? Just have this one extra machine do all the heavy lifting. Alright, so now it's going fast, up to 0.33. Now, if I just take out, like, 2 of those productivity modules and replace them with more speed modules, then this is probably going to go super fast. And then the gears don't look like they're an issue, so we should be fine. We're going to have to check once the drones show up. Because currently this is 0.33, which means it's slower than normal. So we need this to be a little bit faster than normal so that it can account for the extra engine usage. Okay, so yeah, now this is at 0.48, and that's pretty quick, so it's probably good enough like that. It's a little bit less resource efficient to not have all the productivity modules possible, but it should be fine. I mean, the resources going into this aren't exactly super valuable. Alright, we're still getting hit at all of these areas. But we are pretty close to getting another energy weapons damage upgrade, which will be pretty fun. This got a delivery of engines, which has just barely even started. So yeah, that's going to take a little bit more work there. But it is filling up once more. Assume these go every 2 minutes. Yes, they do. Alright, so we need to get this blue science production going. It's possibly the last thing that we need before we have full science usage of everything. Like this is currently the bottleneck. If we can get this to not be the bottleneck, then we might make white science be the bottleneck, despite having a full rocket launch pad going. And this is still going strong. This has backed up all the way as well. And these still have plenty in them. So yeah, rocket launch is going fine. Research is going a lot less fine. But the delivery is up to 280 now of blue science, which is very quick. Now what I'm a little bit confused about is, this was at like 200 when I had one row. Now I have two rows, so you'd expect it to be up at like 400. But it isn't. So I don't know how to explain that. And then we have engine problems. So is this is just about to leave. And is it gonna come over here? It's actually a very direct route. Yes, so now it shows up. The engines haven't fully depleted yet. And it delivers the relatively tiny amount of engines that it has. And that is going to prevent this from running out. Alright, so we have actually managed to get it to back up with some stuff still in the boxes. So that's pretty cool. It's always a good sign. And then these are still just going as fast as they can. And not much faster than they have in the past. Okay, so this is up to 308 delivered now, which is really quick. Obviously it's oscillating a lot, but it is going. It is going, and I have to imagine that some of these other ones will run out once the blue science has been picked up for a little while. Because if the blue science is delivering at 300 at a time, and these are all delivering like at most 200 at a time, then you would expect that to eventually become a problem for the other ones. Alright, but energy weapon damage is at 96%, and the speed at which it's researching is starting to stabilize a little bit. See, the bit on the right there is a lot more stable than the bit on the left. So it's possible that we're starting to kind of saturate this. It's possible, but unclear. Unclear at the moment. So this is looking like it's pretty stable around 300 delivered. I don't know how the rest of these are getting away with hardly delivering anything. I guess it's because this just has to fill up a lot of backlogs in here. But who knows. I might actually give it a minute once this research finishes before I queue another one. Because that will let me see if it's just a question of it backlogging slowly, or if we still don't have enough blue science. Alright, so any second now. You are about to hit remaining time estimate of 10 seconds. Yeah, this is showing science per minute of 195, which is pretty fast. It's hard to say how that compares with this, because this is not a per minute or per second thing. It's just how many are in the air at the moment. But yeah, we're gonna let that stay deactive for a little bit until the blue science can filter through like this. Alright, so now have a little bit of a blue science backlog, and we can, let's see here, are all of these the same 60 seconds per batch? Yes, they are. Oh, except for this last one, which is 30 seconds per batch. So we're going to do mining productivity 5. Why not? So now that is going, and we'll see if the blue science is enough to keep up. Yellow science is burning a lot now. Alright, so we had that slight gap when we weren't researching anything, and now it's going to spike up to maximum potential research because we have all of our backlogs filled. And boy, is that high. Can I see an expanded version of the graph anywhere, or do I just have to look at it like this? But it looks like we're at maxing up around like 272, which is pretty neat. And very minor fluctuations up there, it looks like. It's not completely flat, but it's close. And then the blue science is falling behind again, it looks like. Alright, so somehow blue science might still be the one that we're short on, which I still don't really fully understand how, because we're definitely delivering way more than we are of any of the rest of these. But I guess that's just how it is. The white science is getting a delivery now. Oh, hang on, this is backlogged all the way up to this point now. Alright, it might actually be almost stable. I can just like stand here and stare at this stuff go forever. Like, it's so satisfying. So the white science is going to get delivered up to its maximum amount, and then the blue science is suddenly all gone. Where did that backlog of blue science go? Who knows? So yeah, I think we need even more blue science. So these are all working. These are all working at full capacity. Oh wait, no, some of them are wrong. A lot of them are wrong, actually. Okay, let's see here. Which of these aren't running? It's these two and those two and those two. So the top 6 aren't running at all. Okay, what is going on here? Am I crazy, or is there just like a bunch of random junk on these belts? Why is there a bunch of random junk on these belts? How did that even get there? Is there an incorrect delivery, or how? That doesn't even... It must be... There must have been some sort of mistake with the engine delivery. But how did that even happen? Where did you stop to cause that? Alright, well, it's a problem with stuff on the belt, so I'm going to have to run over there and fix it. Technically, I could fix it remotely, but this is just way more convenient. And it's north of me, actually, right? Let's see here. That's purple. Where's blue? Yeah, blue is just directly north of here. So we need to get up there and figure out what went wrong. So the thing that's immediately obvious is that this is steel plates and pipes and gears. And if we head over here, steel plates, pipes, and gears are the inputs to the engines. So somehow the inputs to the engines have wound up on the outputs. line. I guess that could have just happened. So it doesn't seem like that's possible to happen normally. It might have been something that happened when I was expanding this out. That some belts were like temporarily in the wrong place, or I don't know. But I think if we just remove them, then it'll be fine. So we just stand here and clear all this junk out. And then walk over here, clear all this junk out. Alright, so we should be okay, but just in case, I want to set up a system to pull that stuff off. So I guess we can send it into a passive provider chest. And okay, bulk inserter, but use filters, blacklist, engine units. Alright, then we need to... Okay, can I just put these engine units, I've got a bunch of them in here. You can go back into that. And is it just those two? I could have sworn I had multiples. Oh yeah, I have a bunch of stacks in there. Alright, there we go. Now I can turn personal logistics back on and sort that all out. So now, if anything other than engine units gets on this belt, that should theoretically extract it, and then we'll be able to see that there's a problem. And I can set up a... where are those things? Don't even need logic for this, really. I just need a programmable speaker, which is connected up to that, and if any setting is greater than 0, then we will get an alert for belt contamination. Where is that? Intermediate products, belt contamination. And set the volume down so that we don't have to deal with that. And that should be... shouldn't be necessary, but just in case it is, it's a useful little thing to have access to. And now this whole thing is running. And since the whole thing is running, we might see this go up. Yeah, this is now up to like 380, 370, somewhere in those lines. And it looks like it might... Yeah, it's building a backlog now. So this is up to 36 spare in the box. And any second now, it's going to... Yeah, at this point, we have enough blue science. The alert has gone away, and this backlog is just continuing to go up. Mining productivity is 80-something% done. And it looks like now the white science is the actual problem, which is good, because that's what our goal is. Our goal is to be using the full science output of a single rocket launch pad, and it looks like we are managing that. Alright, so if white science is limited, how much is this? We're actually just launching another rocket now, so that'll provide more. So if white science is limited, then we can speed up overall production with productivity modules here. So let's get those guys in. It's just like, just spam these guys around, and then probably just add another little bit extra. Alright. So that will increase overall production without messing with speed, because the inputs are the problem and not the science labs. And so that will make that better. And the drones are going along. Kind of a little bit surprised that we were able to just like casually drop that many productivity module Mark IIIs. I shouldn't be, because it's only 2 per machine, so it's a lot less than it seems like it. We wouldn't be able to do this with speed modules, but I don't want to do speed modules. I want it to be more efficient. Alright, so we are receiving another burst of white science. And productivity is boosting right back up now that we have white science again. And let's just add more of these. So if you just go like this, actually probably just do a lot more so that we can go as fast as is humanly possible while it's going. And I don't have, I forgot that I never actually automated these. Feels like I should have at some point. Alright, so you are good. Let's do worker robot speed, because why not? Alright, so I was just looking at them. There. Labs. So we need, let's just automate lab production. It'll be, I don't know why I just crafted one of those. I definitely did not need to do that. So you get to be labs, and we need gears, green circuits, and Mark I belts. So let's just get the good old requester chest system. So we have request, gears, I don't know, like 200 or so, green circuits, and I don't even know if we have Mark I belts in the system, but I guess we'll find out. We have a couple, apparently. And so then those just go across into that, and it all gets powered up, and then it gets output into one of those. So that is going, and then I don't know where our Mark I belt production even is, and if it's connected into anything. Is this? Well, this is for green science, but it does have a production line of Mark I belts. So if we don't have anything else, we could just yoink it off of that, but I think we might have them down here. Okay, that's just an iron chest. Alright, you can be upgraded. You can be upgraded, and I guess we might as well do you as well. I don't know where our actual, because we apparently have some in the logistics network, some Mark I belts. But I don't know where. Now we've got actual production. Just in case. Wait, did I put all of those in the same box? I did put all of those in the same box. I am dumb. How did I manage to do that? Alright. No, you get the green circuits. You get the Mark I belts. And you can lose those. Let's see, it's right click to clear. Alright, so there. Give me those right into my trash slots. So now we have gears, we have green circuits, we have Mark I belts, and then this one is going to probably continue delivering the wrong thing for a little bit. But that's fine. And realistically, it would actually probably be okay, right? Because ultimately this will just grab what it needs and the box isn't going to fill up because it's being delivered. So we could have just done this from a single box, actually. It would have been fine. But having multiple boxes, I think, just makes it cleaner and more obvious what's going on. And the super distant ones, which got tasked with delivering from this box, are still going. Hopefully they get sorted out soon. Alright, there we go. And this one still hasn't gotten any the conveyor belts. But we are producing now. We have all of the inputs here. So we're now producing our science stuff. And, ooh, rocket production stopped. That's a bit surprising by this point. What are you out of? You are out of low-density structures. Alright, then let's go and see what went wrong with you guys. You are short on steel. Okay, steel. Where is steel? So this is going. Could be going faster, but this is using pretty close to... I mean, this looks a lot like it's using full belts worth. If it's not, it's very close. So it's like speed modules wouldn't even increase that. Have some up on the top half already. And then there's another steel production somewhere, right? I'm pretty sure I had 2 of these. I might be misremembering. Apparently I'm misremembering. Apparently I just had the one steel thing. Alright. So in that case, this needs to be upgraded some more. So I can get speed modules down in the bottom half of this. The top ones are already all set up. Let's see here. How do I want to make this more efficient? How does this work? So we can get just every other one of these is a speed module. Every other one of those is a speed module. These get the whole alternating thing, which works very well. Alright, beacons. How much does that even help, though? Because again, these belts are very close to full speed. So I guess just making sure that they're definitely at full speed will be beneficial. But I think we might just need another... We might need to either redesign this to use additional belts, or probably just make a new one, which is higher throughput. Alright, so... This one doesn't have any modules because it has this. Alright, so that's no good. You can't be throwing... There's probably some place that needs steel has like 2 speed modules in it for some reason now, which is not ideal. So we can just set that up correctly. And then we go down to these guys and just get every other one. Okay, and then these need to go away as well. And you need your speed modules. And you need your speed modules. And then we should be able to just simply copy paste. Wait, no, because we need the power lines in here to overwrite the attempts at outputting stuff. So we have those. Then we copy paste this and just send it along. And one more in there. So that should be marginally faster. And then we can do this one in the same way, but reversed a little bit. So you two are the ones which we're taking out. And give you some beacons in their place. Those beacons get speed modules, and I should be able to control click that. And they get power lines to overwrite the inserters. And then we grab this whole... This one on the right isn't set up correctly, actually. How did that happen? You need to actually take in your inputs. Alright, so that's another little marginal fix as well, I guess. So then we can grab those and start pasting them over. And this is a relatively short row, so we just do something like that. Then we have this row, which is going to be inverted. So we take that out, replace it with a power pole. We take you out, replace you with a power pole. And then we put in the beacons there and there. And then the rest of these that are meant to be working are. So then we take this and we start pasting you along like that. Alright, one more row. This one needs to actually take inputs, and then, wait, actually it doesn't because we're doing the diagonal thing. So this one and this one are the ones which we're taking out this, so that we can have a checkerboard pattern in here, which I'm pretty sure I figured out was more efficient. Alright, then they need power lines there and there, and actually, like, most of these aren't. There are a couple other non-functional ones on this row, so it's actually just good in general that we're doing this. I almost forgot to put the beacons in before I did the copy pasting. That would have been silly. Alright, so you get your speed modules. Then we take this batch of, I guess, 4, and we start pasting it across so that every other one is in. And that one is like that, and then I guess we just have to do this last one manually because it doesn't line up with the pattern properly. So that goes out, gets a beacon and speed modules. Alright, why are you all missing your speed modules? What has happened here? Did I not place them? I might have not placed the speed modules in when I did this blueprint. They're definitely not getting output anywhere. Alright. I don't know how I did that, but you all get speed modules. All of these guys have speed modules, and they're working just fine. Alright, and then there's this tiny road down here, which I guess we can also do. Can we... let's see. So this is the same exact setup as this one. So I should, in theory, be able to... careful about my precise placing. Should be able to just grab that and paste it here. And then the only thing that changes are the things that I need to fix. So that can just go in like that. And all the beacons ever. Now we are definitely, I think, without question, using all of the iron plates that are getting delivered here. So So that goes in. I wonder if there's a way of, like, including an empty space in a blueprint without having it just be a power line. Because all these power lines look very ugly. It would be nice to be able to have them be actual just empty spaces here. It would look a lot better. Let's figure that out. So let's go to, I don't know, let's just make a theoretical blueprint, and we've got some stuff there, and then we have another version here which has, it doesn't have the inserters. So what I want to be able to do is like copy paste this to there and have it know that the fast inserter is not wanted. Alright, so let's make a blueprint of this and see if there's any options. Filters, entities, tiles. Ah, I see, so you can have it include the pathway in. It's good to know. Snap to grid. Seems fancy. Upgrade items and entities in the blueprint. Parameterize / reconfigure the blueprint. What does that do? Nothing to parameterize. Got it. Alright. Then it doesn't look like there's a way of including an empty space. Alright, that's fine. Just wanted to see if there was. We can continue doing it this way. Alright, so the steel output has increased a little bit, but probably not all that much. Now we have, yeah, so the iron isn't making it to the end of any of the belts, and is also getting kind of pressured in terms of whether we can deliver enough. We've got a whole lot of these trains waiting at various places. None of them are coming here. Alright, so this is an iron plate output which isn't getting any iron ore. So that is something that we're going to need to fix. Because we need iron ore. Is this one also having the same problem? Yes. We might have just... Is this one getting any iron ore? It is. Alright, so where are the trains doing this? Oh, okay, we have a deadlock. We have a deadlock out in the ore patch side of things. That's not good. I'm gonna have to go all the way down there to fix that. Also, where's my... Okay, here is my Spidertron. Been working remotely for a while and haven't been moving, so I didn't realize I had stepped out of my Spidertron. Alright, so we're going to have to run all the way down, fix that giant deadlock, and that should just single-handedly fix the iron ore supply issue, because there are a lot of things stuck down there, and it might also... That might also be part of the problem with the steel, although I don't think it was. But we can hope at least. Alright, so what the heck is going on here? This guy entered the intersection when he wasn't supposed to. You get to be a chain signal. You're a chain signal already, you're a chain... Yeah, so it was just that one that I missed, I think. So you're in the intersection when you weren't supposed to, and that was possibly the thing causing most of this problem. So let's see if we get you past the intersection and then go, then I guess you have to also do the same thing. It might be easier to just manually get this guy out of the intersection, although I'm not sure we have the room to do that. Manual mode, forwards as far as you can go without physically colliding with that other guy. And we managed it. Alright, so that intersection is now clear. You can get set to... Okay, no, don't do that. Don't just randomly drive forwards. Alright, so then the question becomes, why is this guy standing here? Because this guy is in the next block, which makes sense. So why are you just standing here? Because this guy is in the next block. Why are you standing here? Because of this guy, of course. And why are you here? Yeah, why are you here? You should be able to get through this no problem, right? Okay, I guess that's a chain signal. Where are you trying to go? You're trying to go all the way around to here, where this guy is obstructing you. And this guy is standing here because this whole loop is deadlocked. And this whole loop is deadlocked because... Let's see, is there anyone sitting in an intersection anywhere in here? Now the purple area is fully clear. Alright, well this particular spot isn't good enough, so that grid section needs to actually be long enough to hold the train in. So that is something at least. And it looks like that might have... I mean, it's done something. A whole lot of trains are moving now. I don't know exactly what's going on in this area, but it looks like we fixed it just by having this whole thing be able to shift up one. Alright, I don't like whatever just happened. I don't like that gridlock was as severe as it was for no discernible reason. Okay, here's something. This purple bit goes really far over. Like, why does this need to go this far over? You can get a chain signal that you can get a signal there, and then back into a chain signal over there, because that's another intersection. And that might preempt some future problem. And then all of this is untangling. And it looks like we should be clear now. So that should be iron supply reestablished. And whatever this guy is doing, he's probably just getting in the way. I don't think that even functions the way I've set the stops up. Okay. Now what was that all about? Why have you just gone directly into this guy? So this is another instance of this signal is not long enough, so we need you to be like back there, and then you can go away. And now this should be long enough to contain an entire train, so I think that should be all worked out. And yeah, this was a massive traffic jam that I simply did not notice. I don't know how it lasted that long before the ore became like a crippling problem, because we had basically nothing input into the entire factory for who knows how long. Also, it looks like, I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like this might still be messed up. What is going on over here? I mean, nothing here seems to be moving. So that hasn't been fixed, which is unfortunate. Alright, so you haven't gone forwards because you're in the way. And you can't go forwards because you are in the way. And you can't go forwards because your next block is up here. which is this dark blue block with this guy who is in the intersection. Alright. Where is your block? Nowhere in sight, apparently. You can get a chain signal there. And then we hop in and drive you out of the intersection. And, gosh, where can you even go? We just need to get you out of the way. You can make some future attempt at getting to wherever your destination is supposed to be. But we just need you to not be in an annoying spot. So there you go. Set you to automatic, and that should get all these trains rolling again as well. Alright. Yeah, next save, I need to just, like, be very careful to not make dumb mistakes with my train signals. And stuff like this whole area would never happen in a new save, now that I know what I'm doing. This was all designed when I was first messing around with trains and was completely clueless. My second save will not have things like this. It will be nice and simple and straightforward and blueprinted so I can't mess up. Alright, so all these trains are untangling themselves now, and they're making pretty good progress, it looks like. What is this intersection? It's like 2 ways here, and then there's 3 up there, and this intersection is the most disgusting thing ever. But we are getting there. Alright. There goes some uranium. There goes some iron. There's some more iron over there. Yeah, this whole area is just the worst. Like, just actively a mess, which is causing all sorts of problems in the entire factory. Alright. It looks like this period of increased activity from the train deadlock should be... It's very, very long, but it should be coming to a close now, hopefully. I mean, there's only so many times that these trains can run through the same small area before most of them get to where they're going. But then there's probably going to be even more train activity in the near future as well, because these are all going to be outputting into empty things and inputting from full things. So this might take a fair amount of time to actually be back to normal. I just hope that we get enough iron up to these places, and it looks like we are. So this is running now. And what else is there? There's also this one over here, which is going. Nope, it's not. And there's this one, which is going. So we've got 2 out of 3. That's decent. 2 out of 3, and there's more iron ore trains around. So if we then check our steel production, is steel production getting enough? Where is the steel production? There's only one of them, so it's hard to find. Okay, yeah, so steel production not currently getting any iron plates, which means, of course, that our stuff over here is just sitting idle. But speaking of sitting idle, this is a pretty quiet intersection now. We just have this guy who's been sitting here. Oh, because I set you to manual at some point to get you out of the way, and I never set you back. There, so you can go along. And now that will deal with the rest of you. You should not be sitting there. How did you get into that spot? Alright, so are you a chain signal? There's a signal back there, and I can't see it because there's a train in the way. But this whole area is badly signaled, so... Alright, so that is a chain signal, but there's this signal there right before the actual intersection, which is a block signal which breaks the entire thing. So let's remove that. And now this is correct again. Although this yellow area goes like all the way up there, and I don't see why it has to do that. You can just go up to, I mean, really just like as soon as you're past the intersection, you can be in a different block so that anything stuck in there won't cause problems down here. Alright, so that is another awful intersection made slightly less awful. Let's see, is this one over here correct as well? So that's a chain signal going in, that's a chain signal going in, that's a block signal going out, that's a chain signal going in. This one looks normal. It's actually a slightly nice looking intersection. It almost looks like something that you would do on purpose. Alright, so that is good. This area... Now this area has 0 trains in it, which is like almost as suspicious, honestly. I would expect there to be more than 0 trains in that entire very busy intersection that like everything on the map has to go through. Okay, so this is still not going and probably won't be anytime soon. We need more steel plates. I think we just need another steel plate production area, which is going to possibly need even more iron plates, which might need even more iron ore, but hopefully not. We do have a train on the way here, and this hasn't quite run out yet. So maybe it'll last. It's not running at 100% now because these belts aren't fully saturated. But that is what you get when you do it this way. Alright, so we get some more iron plates dropped off. And I want to see if this is able to unload this first cargo immediately. Because theoretically, I want these trains to unload as fast as possible, I think. So if we can get like a 4th box in, it would mean that the unloading just happens quicker because there's 4 bulk inserters taking it out, which might be a good idea. Because every second that the train spends here unloading is a second that it isn't spending getting from place to place. So every little bit that you can make it go faster helps, to a certain extent. I mean, since we're transporting full cargoes, that's true. It wouldn't be true if we weren't transporting full cargoes. Alright, yeah, let's do that. Let's make these just a little bit faster. So we need to get bulk inserters to there, and then we can copy paste that whole thing, and then just I guess we need to not copy paste the belts because they're going to be pointing in different directions. So we copy that and paste it up there and there and there, and then that one is going to need an additional belt. So that should get the iron unloading a little bit quicker, which won't make much of a difference, but it's something at least. Alright, so you're going, and is there another train heading over here? There is already. And you still have like 1,000 or so left. So that's a good sign. So one thing which I could do is I could speed up the loading process a little bit, maybe in some circumstances. So if we look here, we have this going into boxes and then into the trains, and that causes all sorts of complicated space problems. But if I just have them go directly from the belts into the trains, then we wouldn't have those complicated space problems. So that might be helpful, although it also sort of just depends. We can upgrade these belts, actually. I don't know how much of a difference that'll make, but if those belts go faster, then theoretically that might let us load the train faster, and every little bit counts. So over here, yeah, so now this train has unloaded quite fast. And then the problem is the uneven distribution of the stuff in the belts, because these ones up here by the end don't put anything out unless there's space on the belt, which there isn't because these ones are covering it, and that's how we get this weird stuff where that has 1.8k, this has 24. And it's probably not a huge issue because the trains unload to all 4 of them simultaneously. So even if this one gets full, that'll just mean more goes into these, so I don't think that's a problem. But what might be a problem is the fact that certain of these also just straight up unload faster than others because of the way the belt priority works. Alright, there's currently no train on the way here. There's so many trains here. Are any of them stuck? No, they're all waiting at various locations, which is good. If it says heading to and is not moving, that means it's stuck somewhere. So these ones, they're all going about delivering ore, delivering plates, doing all their stuff. So this one appears to be going at approximately full Mark III belt. It looks like the inserters are having to wait on the belt rather than the other way around, which means that upgrading the belts was hugely beneficial. And then up here we don't really have nearly as good of a system because it's a little bit more cramped. That's ultimately not a huge deal either. Is this set up to the prioritization system for steel? It is. So it means that this should be getting steel on a regular basis since it's at 100. But the actual reality is that we just simply do not have enough steel output. Like, we've got this one spot and it's going as fast as it can, but it's not very fast. And the fact that we're taking some out of the passive provider chests probably doesn't help either. So this is going. We're still getting attacked. I really want to figure out how to just like permanently solve that problem. But I think there's not really a good way of doing it. So for the steel thing here, there's currently nothing heading here, which means if we were to add another steel output, it would just be competing with this one, and neither of them would run full time, and then we would just have a problem there. So we need more, I think we need more iron production, unfortunately. Because it's already like our #1 thing that we do. We have so many of those, but I think we need even more. So let's do that. Let's design a brand new high-speed iron production. As long as we make sure, let's see, so this is an iron thing, it's got plenty of ore, and it's probably fine. This one is also got plenty of ore, and then there's this third one over here, which is actually surprisingly deadlocked. Alright. Well, we can also do the same thing we did with the other ones and upgrade all these belts for these two. And that will help it load faster. And it'll help this one load faster. And I'm surprised that some of these are managing to completely fill up and stop producing because they're not getting enough iron out the door. Like, if we're having iron shortages elsewhere, you'd think that finding some place to put all the iron would be the easy part. But maybe having this be faster belts will help that. Because there is a bit of a delay between when this train leaves and the next one shows up because of the way that I've done this. If I were a bit more clever, I could have set up like a sort of waiting area so we could have a second train waiting behind the first to minimize that delay and keep as much loading as possible, but I didn't think of it when I designed this. So there is, I mean, the train has to get from wherever it is in the system over to here before it can go. So if we check, these are, it's very hard to tell whether they're outputting as fast as they're getting more stuff, actually. Could go either way. Because, I mean, they both have... This looks like it's less, but it should be less, right? It's probably less. Alright, regardless, I think we have the point that that is less than full. This one... Okay, this is a perfectly legitimate iron plate output, which has no trains even going to it to fill, which is very surprising. You would not expect to see that. And we have no trains waiting at buffer stops either. I think we actually just need another iron plate train, or maybe even like two. So let's get up to this random stop. Can be where we build these. So we get a train. We get all of you in. You are assigned to the iron plate group. Number 20 billion of them. And then we just need to give you a little bit of fuel. And then, just to make absolutely sure, let's add another one. And you are also in the iron plates group. And give you a little bit of fuel. Now, hopefully they don't run out of fuel before they get a restock at one of the refueling stations. Because theoretically, if they only ever stop at buffer stops, then they might run out eventually. But that's never happened, so it should happen now. Alright, so now we have those two guys in, and that should just increase the amount of uptime on actually loading. So that one is heading to an iron plate input. Well, it doesn't have anything, so it's going to not spend very long there. And I don't know why it's left the main square grid of the factory to get wherever it's going. That doesn't seem like a great deal. Alright, so it's just having a good time. It's going to stop by the steel thing and then immediately move on. And then that should get it situated to actually head to somewhere useful. So meanwhile, this has 2 trains unloading at it. So we should have, all of these should have 2 trains loading at it at all times. This one does currently, although it's now short on ore. There's a train coming though. And there is a spare train, it looks like, so we don't need more ore trains. We just need more ore in general. Alright, so that's going. This one has 2 trains loading at it. Alright, so that should help a little bit with getting the iron plates out and distributed if we have all of these actually actively running. And then it's just a matter of the iron ore, because this looks like this might be an iron ore problem. Now this is not gridlocked where? Did you see something? I didn't see anything. Where did you see it? No, you're just saying? Well, don't just say I'm gridlocked if I'm not actually gridlocked. I mean, I might be. There's always that possibility, but all the ones that say heading to are moving. And the ones that say they're waiting are the only ones that are stationary. So I don't think we have a gridlock. At least not in the ore lines. Alright, so this is going. I need to just set up to figure out like how much we're low on ore and where. So I guess I could set up more data systems for that to keep track. Okay, we are currently actually producing rocket stuff again, so that's cool. That means that this got a delivery of steel. It did. And it seems like it lasts a good while. So that got a delivery of steel, and then our low density structure supply exists again. Yeah, this does not use all that much steel. So as long as we're getting some over, and it's not completely dysfunctional, it should be fine. Ooh, they got all the way to the point where they're damaging an artillery piece. That's not very good. Where was that? It's gone now. Alright, that's fine. Whatever it was got repaired, but that's concerning because they normally don't get that far into the defenses because the artillery is well defended. Normally they're just hitting walls and like the outside laser stuff. Okay, that one up there I think is completely cleared. Because theoretically, if we push these far forwards enough, they'll be like this one is a good example, where it's mostly out of the pollution cloud, so it's not gonna be attacked any. So I think what we need to do is take some of these ones which are getting hit, like this one, and just build forward from here. So let's see if we can do this completely remotely. Oh, I just see a shell going through. Yes, good job. Good job, artillery, getting rid of that. Alright, so let's build a power line out into nowhere in particular and carry some drone coverage along with it. So off you go. And we're going to have to wait for a drone port to get brought in, which is going to take forever. And also, apparently I've just never been over in that area, or I don't have radar coverage of it. Alright, so this is going. The stuff is getting built, And I should probably be here to manually do this, but I want to see if we can do this remotely. It's not very quick, because we have to get that drone port in. Alright, now, with that drone port in, we can see where we're building to place that one in. And how much further forwards do we want to go? I think a little bit more, but not too much. Just like out to the next spot where we need one more drone port. And then a thing here should have enough range to be able to just wipe out all this stuff and then be mostly have the pollution cloud be mostly cleared and not provoking more guys. So if we can do that, then we would be mostly just free of biters on this side, which would be pretty neat. Alright, so here comes, that one looks like it's carrying a drone port. Alright, so then the next drone port we place is going to be, let's see here. These artillery outposts have their own built-in drone port. Yeah, they do. Cool. So this is going to go out here just as far as power coverage can go. And then I need to get a Spidertron over there. This guy doesn't need to be up there because that's pretty safe. So you come down this way, and is there any water along the way there? Doesn't look like it. So he will be on site to help out with the repairs and fend off attacks if it becomes necessary. I believe he is set to not fire at will, which is quite important. Right, yeah, so you're set not to fire at will, so you're not going to completely obliterate our own defensive systems. Now, if someone could get these power lines in so these lasers are actually active, that would be nice. Need one more power line. Alright, one more power line for those couple, and then we'll be good. The drone port is in. And now it's just walls and the big artillery gun. And technically the radar, I guess, which is not exactly critically important. Alright, biters are attacking, but in pretty small numbers. That's not a concern at all. Our lasers will zap the heck out of them. Yeah, they're not even going to be able to get through the forest. Yeah, with that forest there, this artillery post is basically untouchable. Like, they're very bad at moving through the forest, and the lasers don't care. Alright, this is all built, which means the Spidertron probably doesn't even need to be here, but it can stay there just in case. Alright. So that should help a lot out there. We're going to get a lot of attacks in the short term, and then it'll be fine after that. This iron is still going, and it's getting deliveries before it runs out. This iron is going, and it's close to running out and doesn't have a delivery on the way. So that's not great. And these are all below 1,000, so they're not going to last super long. Alright, I think, so one thing we could try to do is to get some train priority balancing on these things, but I think ultimately we just need another iron ore patch somewhere. But it also might not be necessary at all if we've gotten back up to the point where this is going. Like, technically they don't have to be running at 100% of their own max capacity, they just have to be running fast enough to keep everything supplied. And if it's keeping everything supplied, then that's fine. So this has a couple hundred steel each, and a whole lot of trains waiting at places. So I suspect that a lot of places that need steel aren't getting it. So where else needs steel? Probably something up here needs steel, like the engines maybe? Yeah, so these guys need steel, but they have a little bit. And because of the priority balancing, they probably all have a little bit. Normally they don't get to the point where just one is completely empty. So this is going along. We actually have quite a lot of engines now. That's pretty cool. Alright. Is there anything that, like, super urgently needs to be done in the factory? I don't know that there is. I think we're sort of in a spot where we just have to wait and see what breaks next, if anything. Okay, so the science is good for everything except for white science, which is exactly how we want it to be. I don't know why those couple at the end just seemingly randomly got like 1 or 2 white science. So yeah, we currently have no white science anywhere except in this box for some reason. Oh, I remember why that is. That is because you need to set this to request from buffer chests. So now we can take all of that, I guess. It's not going to do all that much because it's just a temporary thing, but it'll get us worker robot speed 8 potentially. Because we only needed like another 1,000. And with that should be like 2,000 white science there. So our worker robots are going to be super fast now, which might make them slightly less annoying to have traveling across the entire map. Alright, so this gun is all loaded up and ready to shoot. And there it goes. And it is being attacked. Okay, they're actually kind of clever. They're going around to try to get above the forest rather than trying to completely pointlessly bash through. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if I just like put walls up here in this same sort of pattern. I wonder if they'll mess with the walls. This is a good science experiment, actually. So if they don't, like, actively fight these walls, because they should be able to see a path through them, right? So if that's the case, then it might slow them down a lot, like the forest does, and just make that area also very secure. Because I'm not worried about them getting through the forest, but if we can do something like this to stop them, then that is applicable just everywhere. Alright, so those are going up. These walls still haven't been built yet, so that's not doing anything. But there's few of them, and they do get tangled up enough by the forest that we can zap them. Alright, so those walls go in. Now, this is purely a science experiment. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't work. But it would be really, really funny if it did. Alright. The worker robots are now extra fast. And mining productivity 5. Sure, why not? I like higher mining productivity. That's always a good thing to have. These guys are really not having a good time getting through the forest at all. Alright, so that section up there got built. And we just need to actually see an attack try to take that route and see if it works. I guess I could put it on some other area which is getting attacked and see how it works for them. But yeah, these guys are no longer apparently smart enough to go around the corner. They're now just trying to go straight through and getting completely obliterated for it. I don't think I've even seen an alert that this place was being damaged. I think it's just been completely perfect this entire time, which is kind of funny considering how building new things here tends to work. Although it's not even... I guess it's not really that far forwards. It's hopefully far forwards enough, but I might even need to build one like out there if I wanted this to be completely perfect. I don't think it is necessary though. So the science is still going strong. And as is the rocket launching. A lot of bots, yes. So these bots are taking like literally thousands of white science and other forms of science down to the research stuff. So that's what most of them are doing. There are also a lot of bots doing other things, but they're pretty good. Bots are very, very useful, as it turns out. And, like useful enough that I want to see what relying on them more heavily would do. Like in this save, most of the heavy lifting is done by trains. But like if we're doing smaller numbers of things, I don't need to put like what's it called? I don't need to put like these engines and stuff. We just don't produce enough of these for it to really make sense to put them on trains. So like you'd obviously still want to do the trains for the higher throughput stuff, but I think drones can do most of the heavy lifting of logistics in the entire factory, which could be very, very useful to have. Alright, so that is going strong. Looks like we're approximately stable in terms of science production for now. And this is still launching as fast as it can, which is, to be fair, not very fast. Alright. I think this is all doing... What is this even crafting? What is this? Oh, this is the thing that I set up to make the rocket silo in the first place. That's right, I forgot that I had that because it takes 20 billion parts to make. Alright, I think... Is there any problems with this factory? I think it's probably going pretty smoothly. I guess we can just go through. This is working fine. That's working fine. The copper is working fine. This looks like it's going. I'm just looking to see if there's anything that is out of an input, basically. And here we're short on blue circuits still. So we need more blue circuits. What is wrong with you? So the red circuits are pretty rough, and it looks like the green circuits also ran out until just recently when they were resupplied. Alright, so red circuits and green circuits are both kind of dubious, which is basically just their natural habitat at this point. Like, they've never been... I've never been like, yeah, I have enough green circuits, that's fine. Although here, we have green circuits that have completely filled up everything and aren't getting anywhere. Alright, so we need to make this... We need to make that all upgraded so that we can just get the trains loaded up as fast as possible, because this is going to be limited by the belt speed. So if we can get the belt speed faster, then we can load green circuits faster and hopefully solve that problem. There is another green circuit thing over here, which I want to do the same thing to. Although it looks like I mostly did, actually, and I just forgot to bring it across to the other side. Alright, red circuits are short on green circuits. That makes sense. Alright, so we are going to need to do something about that. And this green circuit production is short on wire. Now the wire is absolutely doing its normal thing. There's not any problems there. I could technically make this go a bit faster, but I guess that would make sense to do. So I could replace some of these with beacons to make this go insanely quickly. And then I think we would probably just saturate our belts at that point, which is fine, I guess. But I don't even know if we have enough train capacity to manage that. Alright, let's do that. So you, every other one of you gets replaced with one of those, and gets replaced with a beacon. And that beacon gets speed modules. And then we can copy that. And as long as we have that correct, which we do, we can now... Oh, wait, no, some of these are weird. Some of these are weirdos. What do we do about that? I think we can just ignore it. I think it still works. Alright, so then that goes to there. And then down to there. And then there's just one more, which is just going to be slow, I guess. Alright, then... Is this just a perfect mirror image of this? I think it is. So, we should be able to copy-paste this whole thing over a couple of times and then just have it work. Actually, if we're going to do that, we might as well get this last beacon in down here. So you go out, you go out. You become a beacon and get speed modules. Alright, everything functional. These need faster. We need to just drag a good old upgrade across this entire thing because the inserters physically aren't bringing copper in fast enough. So they need to be fast inserters at bare minimum. So we can do that, and then for some reason no one had the idea of removing this. Like, this just needs to be removed to put the beacon in, and no one is coming here to do it, despite the fact that there's a drone just hovering over it waiting. Come on, we just need like one more drone. Okay, the drone that was hovering over it waiting is left to recharge. That's how bad it's gotten. And now it's back to waiting. Alright. Well, we should be able to copy paste as is, and it should know that that setting has been done. I do need to put the power line in there to prevent it from outputting the modules. Alright, so now we can just copy paste this whole line, flip it horizontally, and okay, actually this doesn't seem to work. Wait, does it? I don't know. We'll figure it out once we have them placed in. It's kind of hard to tell. Alright, so then that and that. Yeah, so this is going to cause problems for this system. We're just going to have to rebuild it, I think. That does the whole swapping the size that it outputs to. So, how did we even do that? How did we even do that? hold on, this... Can we just do that? Surely that'll work. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, cool. Sure. I guess that's probably fine. And then the rest of this, we're just waiting on the actual beacons. Because without the actual beacons, this isn't actually improving. Alright. Let's see here. This is going. We're getting all of those. Speed modules are in. Oh, this output belt needs to get rebuilt. That's what you meant when you said the output belt, probably. Alright, so that is in now. Oh, no, this was one of the ones where we did need to do the whole weird switcheroo thing. How do we do that? Right, okay, I think I remember now. So you go like this. You go like that. You go like that. Yes, alright. You figured it out. So you then need to do the same thing. Like that. No, that's wrong. That's completely wrong. That just puts it into the same side of the belt that it was in to begin with, which is obviously no good. So we need you to go out like that, and then you go in like that. There we go. That's that sorted out. And then whatever's going on with these guys, the top ones are output full. That's probably just going to be the case. We're not quite at full belts going through, but we're very close. Alright, so you are just waiting on that one to fill up, which this should be buffered pretty quickly. So I think that this should be just about as fast as it can possibly go. I mean, with the delays in the trains, having these be perfectly full belts doesn't really do much. They just have to be full enough to keep these guys saturated and going. Alright, so that is filling up. These belts look not quite there, so this last row hasn't been filled, which means that we're only using 2 bulk inserters. But it's still pretty close to full. It's probably not a huge problem, so I think we're just gonna leave that as is. Now the green circuits over here have just never run. They're still not going. So we need to still make some more improvements on our copper wire supply, which I don't really know how to do, aside from just putting in another square, which doesn't seem very fun. I mean, this is loading as fast as it can go. Actually, if we just put like some of these guys around, that'll probably help make sure that as many things get saturated evenly as possible. I don't know if that's like a perfect splitter, and if all of these are going to be even now, but it's going to be better at least, so there's that. Alright, so then this is all going. Yeah, whatever happening in here is weird, and we could fit some more stuff on the belt if we... Actually, I know how to do this. If we have... Yeah, okay, if we have you become long output belts, Now, you won't be as fast as the bulk inserters, but you will be outputting onto a portion of the line which isn't fully saturated. So that'll help a little bit. These ones are running long enough. Actually, now we have copper shortages. Of course we do. Alright, there is a train on the way at this very moment, so it's probably fine, question mark? It's hard to say. These are some belts which can be upgraded as well. Not that I think that'll make it much of a difference. But we can pop those in. And it certainly won't hurt. We're not short on express transport belts, so that should be fine. Alright, it has also been quite a while since we've had any alerts, which means that we're using all of our research, and that's just the inconsistency there is just because of the white research itself, which is very bursty and when it decides to show up and when it doesn't. So we're using all of our other types of research. We are running our rocket silo at maximum output, and I think we're probably approximately stable on that. Like, it's been a good amount of time. We've had a couple problems, but this is Factorio. There's always going to be things running out. I'm pretty happy with where we are. I think we're going to wrap up here. So, I think this is going to be probably the end of this playthrough. I think I'm happy where everything is at. Like, I could do more, because you can always do more, but I also want to try out Space Age. I want to start from scratch, knowing how to not build this. So yeah, I want to start from scratch and not have stuff like this in my factory, and just see what the early game is like again, because it's been a bit since I've done that. So we're going to do that. We're going to start from scratch with Space Age, and then go for who knows how long. I don't know how long the Space Age DLC is. Probably going to be doing that for quite a while. So yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. And I will be back in Factorio on Tuesday and in Satisfactory tomorrow. So make sure to stop by if you're interested in that. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time playing various factory building games. So make sure to stop by if you're interested. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I had a lot of fun with this playthrough. Factorio is a pretty great game. And yeah, that's about it.